That's not going to work. That's better. Hey everyone, it's Matt. I'm back and this is my layout. Now for those who are longtime subscribers, you might be freaking out a little bit right now. I'm freaking out as well. No, I am not getting rid of my Midland Falls Railroad. That is staying. What is changing is I am just adding, I'm adding more work for myself. Let's be honest here. I think there's a lot of guys that will kind of do this kind of thing where they've got their main layout, their major, big project, and then at some point, they'll want to scratch another interest they have in model railroading, and so they start a second layout. And that's what this is here. This is a second layout for me. This is a small shelf style modular display layout. It measures 18 inches by 11 feet. And it is about as different from the Midland Falls Railroad as you can possibly get. Whereas my main layout is larger. It's a big layout for me anyway. It features mainline operation, modern locomotives, and big time scenery and river crossings, and trains sneaking their way through canyons and among trees, and you've got industry like cement and paper and lumber. It's all this stuff. This is something completely 180 degrees different. So let's talk a little bit about what this is. This is the Baltimore and Ohio's 26th Street freight station. I'm calling 26th Street Station. It's what's called a pocket terminal. It's a small, self-contained bit of railroading found in Manhattan. The purpose of the railroad was to bring goods into Manhattan proper. Manhattan was, at the time that I'm modeling in 1955, had a population of over 2 million people. And those 2 million people needed fresh fruits and vegetables. They needed, all the products from all around the country coming into Manhattan so that they can make use of it. And the way that worked was there was no real good way of getting products into Manhattan sort of by land. And so what would happen would be railroads would bring goods into yards that existed in New Jersey, Staten Island, and then those boxcars would get loaded onto ferries and then floated up the Hudson River to a terminal like this one right here, where the cars would then get unloaded from the floats, brought into the yard, where they would then be loaded onto trucks and then distributed throughout the city. Empty cars and some cars loaded with goods that were manufactured in Manhattan would then be loaded back onto the car floats and then taken back to the yards to be distributed where they needed to go from there. So that's a little bit about how it operates. I chose 1955 because frankly, there's a lot of good equipment available for it in 1955. 1955 was, there's a car, I guess you're going to call it a car float apron that was built in 1954. That's pretty iconic to the scene. That car float apron, I guess, is a bridge, if you want to call it that, is still exists today, and you can actually go and walk on it today. That was built in 1954, so to have that on the layout was kind of important to me. I wanted to have the West Side Highway intact. That was kind of important to me too. I also just wanted to just go with a completely different era with different looking vehicles and everything. By the way, vehicles in HO scale in the 1950s, way easier to find than anything modern. I mean, try finding a modern pickup truck. They're impossible. Try finding a modern car that's not like a Corvette or like a BMW Z3 or something like that. I mean, I wish they just made like Hyundai Civics or something. They don't seem to do that. They want to have sports car. Anyways, a nice looking 1950s car that would look appropriate for the 1950s. Much easier to find and reasonably priced as well. So yeah, this has been exciting. This has been an exciting new adventure for me. You know, the Midland Falls Railroad, it's a freelance railroad, right? It's based on the Pend Oreille Valley Railroad, which I'm doing a lot of research on the Pend Oreille Valley Railroad to make it kind of look and feel correct. But it is very much my own thing. What I want to do, that's what I'm doing, right? Whereas with this, my goal for this is to be as prototypically accurate as I can possibly be, giving some of the things that I have to do to kind of squeeze it into the space I have available, right? So the tracks are recognizable, but different because obviously the footprint is different, that kind of thing. But I really am excited about the idea of just doing everything as correct as possible as a historical piece for this layout versus the fun that I'm having in other ways on my freelance layout over here. It's just scratching a completely different part of itch in the hobby for me. You know, this is something that I've had my eye on for many years now. I discovered the 26th Street Station back, I want to say like 12, it's been a while. It's been 10 or 12 years now, probably. Almost as long as, or maybe even longer than when I was thinking about this. And I always kind of had it in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, that's kind of interesting because if I do it in N scale, I could do it uncompressed, which would be really kind of an amazing idea that you can make an uncompressed model railroad and it would be very reasonable to do and would, I think, look really good. I didn't go in scale with this one just because I had concerns about, you know, I love sound and locomotives and I love switching. I just had some concerns about how that was going to work out for me in N scale. I briefly considered O scale as well. You know, I have always been interested in O scale, and then that Christmas train that I bought from Menards for my son sort of like hooked me on the size of it. However, at the end of the day, I'd have to make way too many compromises to make anything that would resemble 26th Street Station work in O scale. So that was going to work as well. So HO scale it is. It's a scale that I love, and I'm happy to be doing an HO scale. And I can do a pretty darn good representation of 26th Street Station in the space I have available for me in HO scale. And that's what I plan on doing here. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I mean, I've got a lot more to say. I'll get into it in later videos. For now, I just wanted to introduce this new project to you, tell you a little bit about it. In upcoming videos, we're going to talk about the track plan, how I came up with that, and how I kind of worked to fit it into a very sort of limited space. We're going to do some bench work. I'm doing some interesting new ideas with bench work here, at least new for me anyway. So I'm excited to get on that and get going with that. Track work, electrical, I'm kind of doing it to the nines with this layout. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff to interact with on this layout here. This is going to be a layout that's going to take me some time to get done. This is something that I work on when the mood strikes, and the level of sort of craftsmanship that I'm going for with this layout is, I don't want to say necessarily above this one, but because it is smaller and I have quite a bit of experience now building things like bench work and wiring and track work and that kind of thing, I just want to challenge myself to elevate my game, if you will. Yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thank you everyone for checking this video out. I hope you stay around and follow me on this new adventure as I work to build Baltimore and Ohio's 26th Street Station in the year 1955. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you all in another video.